When it comes to saving money, big purchases are your golden tickets. People will spend hours clipping coupons, finding deals to save few bucks on small purchases. But when it comes to big purchases like buying a house or buying a car, they make poor decisions which cost them thousands of dollars. In this video we will go over the ways by which you can save thousands of dollars on your next big purchase. But before we dive into tips on buying the car, let me tell you the most important factors that leads to biggest saving on cars. It's how long you keep the car before selling it. You can get the best deal on the car, but if you sell the car after 3 years, then you have lost money. Especially if you buy a new and sell it after 4 years, as car loses almost 50% of its value in first 4 years. You save real money if you keep the car for more than 10 years. Although this number can vary from one model of car to another. If car repairs have a big problem, then of course selling it will be a right decision. But cars have become more and more reliable now and last many years with if maintained properly. Now let's discuss the things you should look for when purchasing a car. Budgeting. It's very common for people to underestimate the cost of owning a car, and they purchase a car that they can't really afford. They later find themselves in debt. It's usually recommended to keep all your transportation costs between 10 to 15% of total gross income. People usually consider only car payment when calculating this amount. It's just the tip of iceberg. There are many other costs associated with owning a car like insurance, gas, parking, registration, maintenance, and repairs. For example, you live in a metro city like New York and making $70,000 a year. Then your transportation costs per year should ideally be between $7,000 and $10,000, which translates into $700 per month. People would usually go and buy $700 per month's payment car, and it will be a horrible decision. Now let's calculate all costs of owning the car: $120 per month for insurance, $130 for gas, $100 for parking. We haven't even considered registration, possible tickets, and unforeseen repairs, and it has already taken up half of your transportation budget, and so far you can only afford car payment of $350. So it will be nice to calculate your budget, then calculate all the costs in your case, then see how much can you afford and not go above that threshold. You can use the calculators on kbb.com or edmunds.com to calculate the real cost owning a car for a specific make and model. I will put the links for these calculators in the description below. To lease or finance? Most of the Americans don't have enough money to buy the car outright in cash. They will need some kind of financing. Nowadays leasing is becoming more and more common, but don't fall into the trap by the shiny low payment and new car every few years. Cars lose most of the value in their first few years, called depreciation. Leasing means you pay for that depreciation and then returning a car. Unless you are rich enough to afford that, and getting a new car every 3 years is a priority for you should never lease. Finance it with no more than 4 years term. You should check with your local credit union and your bank for their financing options and get the quotes for the car you want before walking into the dealership. Then compare those rates, the rates that dealer is offering to you. Never go to the dealer without doing your homework, as you will end up losing thousands of dollars. If you are buying a new car, then don't get fooled at dealer's office by MSRP. MSRP is just a suggested retail price by the car company and can be much higher than the actual price of car. You can see invoice price on a car on kbb.com before you go to make a purchase. Invoice price is the price that dealer has paid for that car. If you know this beforehand, then you can negotiate accordingly. And don't forget to ask for any rebates or special offers available. They might not tell you unless you ask them. You can also check for them on automaker's website. You can find special offers for students, military, and specific credit unions. And if you are going to purchase a used car, then you can check for fair value on kbb.com before making the purchase. Get a reliable car. Don't be carried away by the shiny new car at the showroom. It's important to remember that you are not buying the car for next 2 years, you are buying it for 10 plus years. The hotness of the flashy car will fade away with time. Get a reliable car which will last enough without requiring major repairs. Repairs cost time and money and are big hassle. You can check the reliability and reviews of different cars on many websites like consumerreports.org or kbb.com. And if you are getting a used car, make sure you get it checked by independent mechanic. It might cost you a little, but it will prevent you from expensive surprises in future. Resale value. This is something to keep in mind when purchasing the car. We have already seen how a car depreciates quickly in initial few years, but some cars depreciate slowly than others. For example, Toyotas and Hondas tend to keep good value when you go to sell them. You can check the resale for a car after given years on kbb.com. Fuel efficiency. Unless you own an electric car, gas price are a good chunk of your monthly transportation budget. If you drive around 15,000 miles a year, then your monthly gasoline cost will be north of $100. Which means more than $1,200 per year. And you can see, over 10 years it builds up to more than $12,000. Over time you can save thousands if you get a fuel-efficient car. Insurance. Call an insurance agency and ask for a quote before you make the purchase. Some cars tend to have bigger insurance premiums, something to look at as these differences will accumulate over time. After you purchase your car, make sure you maintain it well. Regular maintenance with tire rotation, keeping oil and filters in check will save you from big repair costs in long term. These were some tips that will save thousands of dollars over life of the car. Let me know in the comments what other suggestions do you have to save money on transportation costs. Thank you for taking time to watch this video. Give a like if you enjoyed and make sure to subscribe for more personal finance related videos. Cheers guys and have a good one.